Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! You guys are the most unbelievable fans in the entire universe, putting up over 2,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support you've shown this YouTube channel. I honestly don't know where I'd be this morning without each and every one of you and your love and support. If you have not subscribed, if you have not liked this video, please make sure you do it, and please make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, because this is going to be a whole lot of fun for everybody who has ever said they are a fan of Descendants and Zombies. The way this YouTube channel works is there is at least one video uploaded every single day, and it was a promise I made to you guys over a year ago when I thought this YouTube channel would never amount to anything. But this YouTube channel a year and a half later has exploded in popularity with over 3,000 subscribers, over 55,000 channel views. It is unbelievable the numbers that you guys have been showing up for this YouTube channel, and because of each and every one of you, this YouTube channel is well on its way to becoming the most popular Descendants and Zombies YouTube channel in the entire world. We have a lot to discuss. We have to discuss what's inside of that vortex for Zombies 5. I am incredibly excited to find out what's happening with that. I'm really excited about the conflict that will now be presented for the very first time ever in Descendants 5, Wicked Wonderland, between Red and her sister, because I don't think there's ever been a conflict presented quite like this. We saw the battle between Uma and Mal and how significant that was for the Descendants franchise and how much everybody loved it, and it just seemed like as soon as we were getting into the conflict between Uma and Mal, the storyline just disappeared, and they had believed they had told the story and they had completed it by the time the barrier was closed. We all remember that, and we all remember how much profound impact Descendants had on all of our lives. And now, Descendants 5, Wicked Wonderland, I love the title from the very first moment that I heard about it. I really love the story about how new characters from Princess and the Frog and Encanto are going to be seeing their introduction into the franchise for the very first time ever. One of the things that left me really upset and crying every night for the rest of my life was that Ruby Rose Turner had announced she was parting ways with the franchise because the essence of time travel had been taken out of this one. You can't honestly tell me that you couldn't have found something for Ruby Rose Turner's character Bridget to do in present-day Wonderland, even though she was one of the concepts of time travel and one of the consequences of it. I think that with Red having a sister now in the franchise, yes, it can be looked at as a way to get rid of Ruby Rose Turner's character and remove her from the storyline, but again, I think that you could have easily had something for her to do, along with Leomani Segura coming into play Red Sister Pink. Reportedly, they have even gone as far as to make a remix of the song Life is Sweeter When You Are. I am incredibly excited to hear that, but I just think that that song was more effectively and more powerfully put out there with the voice of Ruby Rose Turner on that song. There was just something about her voice being incredibly satisfying for that song, and honestly, that was my favorite song on the Descendants soundtrack. You know, I don't have to sit here and rank the songs every morning and every day for the rest of my life, because I know what songs of Descendants really stood out to me. The If Only song from Dove Cameron, Life is Sweeter When You Are from Ruby Rose Turner, Red from Kylie Cantrell, which really put on display how fierce and how fearless a character Kylie Cantrell's character Red was going to be and was meant to be for the Descendants franchise. I think that Kylie Cantrell has really represented herself so phenomenally well as the character Red. I don't think anybody could have ever done a more fabulous job than what she did. I think that the way that she presented herself was unbelievable. She was so fierce, she was so strong, and the thing about Kylie Cantrell was, in light of all the criticism that she received, she didn't care what anybody thought of her. And I think that was the coolest thing about Kylie Cantrell, because a lot of people felt inspired by that. A lot of people have felt more courageous now to stand up for what they believe in. They're trying out for more sports teams. They're trying out for more opportunities that are coming their way, because they feel so courageous, because they see themselves through the eyes of characters like Red. And I hope that portrayal continues to be seen in Descendants 5, Wicked Wonderland, by all the conflict that they will be presented from the consequences of time travel, which are to be expected in this movie. I'm also expecting Maddox Hatter to have a more significant role in this movie because of how much emphasis he put on all the consequences of time travel that have yet to be seen and suffered from. I think that one thing that Descendants has really put into emphasis is just how important the emphasis of time, and how time always runs out. It never lasts. Time is something that never lasts forever, and we really have to make the most of every opportunity that we're given in this lifetime. You know, sometimes I ask myself the question, you know, if I were in possession of a pocket watch, what would I do with it? Would I go back in time and fix some of the mistakes that I've made? Would I tell more people in my lifetime that I love them? There are so many things that I would go back in time and do. I think one of the things that I would do is go back in time and live through the 1990s all over again. The more that I hear Kylie Cantrell talking about how big of a fan she was of the 1990s, I think one of the greatest honors of my life was growing up as a millennial and experiencing this firsthand. because Kylie Cantrell has always wanted forever and always to go back in the 1990s and live through that era and witness the rise of popular bands like the Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, NSYNC, popular TV shows like Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, some of my all-time favorite shows. I think the Power Rangers were really huge in the 1990s too. 1993, August 28th, 1993, the very first episode of the Power Rangers premiered. And I was a really big fan of the Power Rangers, so I think one of the things that I would do if I was in possession of a pocket watch would be to go back in time and experience that all over again. And I'm sure a lot of you probably have your stories of what you would do if you were in possession of a pocket watch, which you're more than welcome to share in the comments if you actually have one. I think that Descendants, The Rise of Red has really encouraged us to be more kinder to people. It has encouraged us that, time really never does last forever, and we really have to make the most of every opportunity that we're given, which is why I really appreciate that Kylie Cantrell opened up every tour date on the Worlds Collide Tour with how a dream can happen for anybody regardless of what that dream is. And that's something that I've always tried to convey on this show. Long after I moved into this house, all I ever wanted to do was relay a message of kindness and positive vibes on this show. And I like to believe some way or somehow I was able to do that through the power of Descendants of Zombies. I've been the biggest Descendants fan for the last 10 years. I remember watching the premiere of Descendants on July 31st, 2015, and thinking this was a fabulous production. This was one of the best productions, I thought to myself, since High School Musical and Hannah Montana were at the heights of its popularity. I mean, no one will ever argue the success of Hannah Montana and High School Musical for its powerful presentation and how anything was possible for everybody out there. But the thing was about Hannah Montana and High School Musical was that was all they were emphasizing. They were emphasizing how powerful a dream could be for somebody, how a dream could happen for anybody. But that was pretty much it. You take the music out of Hannah Montana. This is where my issue lies with Hannah Montana and High School Musical. You take the music out of both productions, and what are you left with? Are you left with just as powerful of a story? Are you left with just as powerful of a message? I really don't think so. But with Descendants, I mean, you could have took the music out of Descendants and it still would have been just as powerful. You could have took the story out of Descendants and left the music to be told and it still would have been just as powerful. The thing about Descendants of Zombies is it's so beloved. And it's one of the most successful franchises of all time, if not the most successful franchise of all time. Because it's not just one specific character you see yourself through the eyes of. It's every character. And every character offers something special to this franchise, no matter how significant or insignificant those characters may have been. Which is why, for the life of me, I don't know why they've received so much criticism with how much they've offered to the franchise and how much they have continuously brought it to life. I mean, you take, for instance, Ruby Rose Turner's character. I mean, I never thought that Ruby Rose Turner's character would go down in history for being one of the most revered characters in the Descendants franchise, but she did. And that's why I question why her time with the franchise was so short-lived. I mean, she really showed how much of a profound impact kindness can have on a person's life. I mean, how many days of our lives do we go to school with people that don't seem to be so kind, that always seem to be having the worst of days, and they always try to take it out on somebody else because of some insecurity they may be dealing with. The thing that I'm here to tell you guys is you can make a difference by just tapping them on the shoulder if you know them and tell them that you love them, or by telling them that you just were thinking about them for no particular reason. It really goes far in a person's life to know that somebody out there really truly does love them. And I think that Descendants and Zombies have done such a fabulous job really showing us how far love can go in a person's lifetime and how far it can really take them. For instance, Zombies. I mean, the story between Zed and Addison was a beautiful story. It even showed how far love can go for a person, even if it meant that a girl had to fall in love with a zombie. Everybody, I think, at one point or another would go for that now because of how Zombies really illustrated just how much of a profound impact love can have on a person's life and how much of a hold it can have on somebody. Because every once in a lifetime, you will meet somebody that you will give anything to hold on to for the rest of your life. No matter what you have to do, no matter what you have to go through, what you have to put yourself through, and the ones you love perhaps, to keep that one person in your lifetime, you will do anything. And Zed and Addison proved that time and time again from every chapter of Zombies, no matter what they were faced with, encounters with werewolves, meeting up with aliens, seeing vampires for the first time ever by Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, meeting Victor and Nova. At the end of the franchise for Zed and Addison, when their time was up, they knew that they wanted to spend their lives together no matter what the cost. and they had the opportunity to do that while having the time of their life, bringing zombies to life in a way that nobody else would have ever been able to do it. You could have had anybody portray the character Zed and Addison, and I'm sure they went through 500 different auditions before they narrowed it down to Milo Manheim and Meg Donnelly. But I think it was pretty much an instant choice because of the chemistry they had, how good of a friendship they shared, and how much they understood each other for, what the friendship really valued. And that's what really brought it to life. I remember that ending scene in Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, when they wanted nothing more than to spend the rest of their lives together, and they had the opportunity to do that. It got me to thinking about how many times I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with a girl. It never worked out because we wanted better things in life for each other, but the thing was, it didn't mean that we didn't love each other. It was just we wanted to go our separate ways and achieve more out of life. But, that last scene in Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, really helped me put my life in perspective and really made me realize what I wanted to do for the rest of my life more than I probably ever had before, and that was pretty much be the host of this show. Having the honor to meet each and every one of you has been the greatest honor of my life. And that is something that I will say time and time again, because each and every one of you gave me a second chance, brought my career back from seemingly out of nowhere. From the very first moment that a girl showed up at my door, dressed up as her favorite Descendants character, and convinced me to create a show about Descendants and Zombies, thinking it would be cool because there was no show on YouTube devoted to talking about Descendants and Zombies. After considering it and taking under advisement for a number of years, that girl finally got what she wanted. And all of you got what you wanted, because I don't even think Disney has gone out of their way to create a show about Descendants and Zombies. I don't think they ever will. I don't think they've ever even considered it, because they have so many podcasts devoted to Marvel, National Geographic, what have you, on D23.com and Disney.com. I have never heard a Descendants Zombies podcast, but I don't understand why they can't do that and have interviews with your favorite stars, talk a little bit more about, offer you insight on the franchise, what direction you think it might be headed. I guess they think, throwing up a spoiler or a teaser trailer is enough, and it shows enough significance that they don't need a podcast. But do a podcast at least once a week. Every Tuesday, drop a podcast about Descendants of Zombies, and you will get millions of people subscribing to it, especially with the reach Disney has and the response that Descendants of Zombies has received. We have 781 million hours of stream time for Descendants in total on Disney+, 250 million with Zombies coming right behind it. Actually, I believe in the first week of Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires premiere, it went to number 1. And that really shows just how far Zombies has gone and came, and how popular it really is, because it's not just one age demographic that Zombies is really touching the hearts of. It's touching the hearts of so many people from all walks of life, so many different age demographics. I've said this many times. There are people who used to watch Zombies when they were in grade 3 or 4 who are watching Zombies now in grade 11 or 12. So you're graduating this coming June, and you're still as big of a fan of Zombies as you were years ago. So it's always and forever had a hold on your heart. And I've seen people at the Worlds Collide Tour up to 17, 18 years old who love Zombies so much. I've even had adults comment on this YouTube channel talking about how much they love Descendants and Zombies and watching it with their kids. It's a franchise that has unquestionably changed our lives and our perspective on it, because now more people are kinder. People are friends now because of Descendants of Zombies. And I've witnessed this firsthand with my own 2 eyes. I've witnessed 3 or 4 girls become friends all at the one time. And 15 years later, after the popularity of Descendants, the original trilogy, they are still friends. And they still keep in contact. And I think that's a really powerful effect to have on somebody when a franchise can touch your heart in such unbelievable ways. We never saw that same kind of chemistry like Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker present to each other. By the way, guys, I love how Kylie Cantrell uploads videos every single morning of the Worlds Collide Tour on her Facebook page, on her X account. I hope she keeps doing that. That's a trend that I think more celebrities should follow suit with, because it keeps you in the informative loop, as I always like to say, and you always know what's happening in Kylie Cantrell's life. You always know what's going on. You're never left in the dark about Kylie Cantrell. Along with that, their friendship between Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker, Disney has done a fabulous job promoting this. While it may just show you what happens on camera, what happens off of camera is something so spectacular too, because what happens off of camera, there is such a close-knit bond between Kylie Contrell and Malia Baker, which is something like I've never witnessed before in my life. I have never seen two girls have such a close-knit bond that has really made them inseparable and really understand each other better than anybody who's ever been part of a cast before. Sometimes we have these TV shows, like TV shows of the past, like Hannah Montana and Wizards of Waverly Place, which is the biggest examples I can use for you, where the chemistry just wasn't really there from the very first episode. You take Miley Cyrus and Emily Osment. It wasn't until halfway through the production of the Hannah Montana movie that they became even the closest of friends. Years prior to that, they couldn't stand each other, and the producers and the writers of Hannah Montana thought it was never going to work. The same thing can be said about Ariana Grande and Jeanette McCurdy from Sam and Cat days. It only got one season and 35 episodes. What's your reason? They couldn't get along or see eye to eye. They wanted more out of life. I think that if Disney prided itself on creating shows that were based off some of the most beautiful friendships, like Ashley Tisdale and Vanessa Hudgens from High School Musical, which was fabulous, or friendships like all the friendships that we've seen that actually work on Nickelodeon, like Victoria Justice and Miranda Cosgrove. I think that if you focused on friendships that actually mattered and stood the test of time and still remain so unbelievable, like Rome Blanchard and Sabrina Carpenter is another example I can use for you guys. Girl Meets World, one of the best spin-off series ever done, because you have the cast of Boy Meets World and you have this beautiful friendship between Sabrina Carpenter and Rome Blanchard with its own hashtag, Robrina, I think is what they refer to themselves. And to this day, since the success of Girl Meets World was seen over 8 years ago, the stars of Girl Meets World are still the best friends, like Sabrina Carpenter and Rome Blanchard. So I think that if you focus more on creating shows and movies like Descendants, because of Malia Baker and Kylie Contrell's close-knit bond, I think you would see more of a success story. And this is why Descendants is going to last forever. Which is why I think we should never buy into what the critics are saying about how they've told the story and they've completed it. Oh, they need to stop making Descendants movies because without Cameron Boyce, it would never be the same. I think the tribute they gave Cameron Boyce in the first 5 minutes of the Rise of Red movie, when they were going to open up Oradon Prep to the citizens of Wonderland, if you would, that was an amazing tribute. Even though it was about 5 minutes in length, yes, it would have been what Carlos would have wanted. And I, for one, don't believe that Carlos would have wanted the Descendants franchise to finish production and to have wrapped up because of his death. I think he would have wanted the legacies of your favorite Descendants stars and your movies to continue. I think that if he could come back from the dead and tell us, what he would have wanted, I think that's exactly what he would have wanted precisely. So I think that them saying that they've told the story and completed it, and it wouldn't have been the same without Cameron, that was pretty much jumping to a formidable conclusion. So I'm really happy that they made the decision to bring Descendants back. They gave Cameron Boyce a tribute. Before that, all the beautiful tributes by the celebrities he worked with, from Peyton List to Dove Cameron to Sophia Carson, were beautiful. And by the way, my Cameron Boyce tribute videos have made this YouTube channel one of the most popular in the world, and I want to say thank you so much for that. But I think that ultimately what he would have wanted, if it would have been up to him, is to see the Descendants franchise continue. Offer us more expansions, more characters in the storylines, even if it wasn't going to be seen through the eyes of Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson, which obviously it wasn't. No matter who would have taken the lead roles of the Descendants franchise and told a whole different story from a whole different perspective, I think that's exactly what he would have wanted. As much as we would have wanted Dove Cameron to come back and reprise her role as Mal, or seen Sophia Carson come back and reprise her role as Evie, I think that we've reached a point of acceptance where we've realized finally the times have changed, so we as fans have to change with the times. And it's all an effort to keep the franchises going that have meant so much to us for what feels like forever. Do I think you can tell a story in 90 minutes and complete it? Most certainly I don't think you can tell a story in 90 minutes and complete it, because it's just merely scratching the surface of what this franchise has yet to amount to. 781 million hours of stream time could become 1 million hours of stream time. That it's so close to 1 million hours of stream time for Descendants, and that would be an all-time record. So I think that we are slowly but surely getting to points with Descendants of Zombies where we should be doing anything but closing the book on such a revered and such a popular franchise. I think it's just, believing that you've gotten to a point and we don't need to go any further with the story. As long as significant budgets are always allocated for the movie and you can do more with it, then why not run with an opportunity to keep on telling such a fabulous story? That's something that I will forever and always believe, that while you may have believed that you've told so much about Descendants and Zombies, there is still so much of a story to be told about the franchise, and a franchise that has meant so much to our hearts and will forever and always mean so much to our hearts. And I, for one, am incredibly excited to see where this franchise goes from here. And if in fact we will see Ruby Rose Turner return as the character Bridget, just because time travel was not needed in Descendants 5 with Wonderland and the focus was going to remain on present-day Wonderland, didn't mean that Ruby couldn't have been a part of Descendants 5 and won't be a part of Descendants 6 by the time we get to it. Because rest assured, there will be a Descendants 6, because there will be something happen in Descendants 5 with Wonderland, even if it just is the sole introduction of Liamani Segura's character Pink, because you're not going to be able to tell Pink's story in just one movie. This presents an opportunity for more storylines to be presented, more creative energy to be brought forth for the franchise, and I'm incredibly excited to see where we go from here with these new characters, especially with the characters from Princess and the Frog and Encanto seeing their introduction into the franchise for the very first time ever. You know, I never thought we would get to a point where characters from Princess and the Frog and Encanto would even be thought about seeing their introduction into the Descendants franchise, but I'm really happy that we're at this point, because now with characters that we never thought we'd see in Descendants, like Princess and the Frog and Encanto being discussed, that means that even more characters that we never thought possible could also see their introduction into the franchise, and I, for one, am incredibly excited to cover it for you. Just think about it like this. This time next summer, we'll be counting down the hours, the minutes, and the seconds literally to the premiere of Descendants 5 with Wonderland, and we'll have even more of an reason to be excited about the future of the franchise. And then the question will be, will there be a Descendants 6? What will happen in the fallout from Descendants 5? In all the unanswered questions that we will be left with, because you can rest assured we will hear our fair share of criticism, and we will be left with more than just one unanswered question, and we'll want to know more about the future of Descendants, and I will forever and always be here to discuss that for each and every one of you and help you shed some light on some things that we will be left in the dark about. But the thing is, we can expect a lot of criticism from Descendants 5 with Wonderland. You can pretty much bet your last dime that we will be hearing a lot of criticism about Descendants 5 with Wonderland. But even though we will be hearing a lot of criticism about Descendants 5 with Wonderland, that does not mean that we should jump to the conclusion and say this movie is not really going to live up to all of its expectations, because I, for one, believe that with all the hype that's gone behind Descendants 5 with Wonderland and put behind it, I think that we have something to be really excited about. We have more of a story to be excited about to watch. We have more of a story to be excited about to have so many unanswered questions for, because that will create a lot of conversation on forums, and people will be discussing the future of the franchise. You know, I think that people will forever and always miss the original cast, but as I've said many times, the times have changed, so we as fans of the franchise have to change with the times, and I think we've done a fabulous job doing it. And I think there is still so much more of a story to be told, so I don't think we should close the book on Descendants just yet. So too shouldn't we close the book on Zombies with the introduction of this new franchise like Freya Sky and Malachi Burton now entering the fold, and still so much of a story from their perspective to be told. We've heard the story from Zed and Addison, now that they're executive producers sitting behind the camera. What's next for the Zombies franchise? Although it remains to be seen of what's inside of that vortex, I want to find out what's inside of it, so much so that I would take the opportunity to jump inside of this thing and come back and tell you guys on my show. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, Jonathan Clarke, don't you realize that a vortex is usually associated with everything having to do with doom? Do you think you'd actually survive that? Don't you think it would kick your ass? I've thought about it, but somebody's got to be crazy enough to jump inside of this thing, and if I'm crazy enough to host the Descendants of Zombies podcast for you guys, and the only one to ever do it, then I have to be crazy enough to jump inside of a vortex. Because if I'm not going to do it, I don't think anybody else is going to do it. And I can't forget to mention about how this really has been the greatest honor of my life, being able to sit behind this podcast microphone for you every night for the rest of my life, talking about Descendants of Zombies, because I wouldn't have it any other way. If nobody else is going to create a show about Descendants of Zombies for you on YouTube, then I guess I'm going to have to be the guy to do it, and I honestly have had no regrets ever since. After 55,000 plus views have been put up on this YouTube channel, over 2,800 plus watch hours have been accumulated. It really just goes to show how much of an appreciation you guys have for the show and have for me, and I'm just really happy that you guys saw a hero in me when nobody else was seen to be a hero in your eyes. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to have been your voice of Descendants of Zombies, to allow me to have helped you make sense of everything Descendants of Zombies, because I honestly don't know what I'd be doing this morning if not for the popularity of this show. I know for certain I wouldn't have a show, because everything else I was providing commentary on over the years really wasn't making a whole lot of sense to a lot of people or whatever niches I was trying to attract, which is why I'm forever thankful that I had the opportunity to fall into this specific niche and provide the commentary that was long awaited for it to hear, and to have been your hero and been your voice of Descendants and Zombies for at least the last 10 years. I have been the biggest fan of Descendants and Zombies for what feels like an eternity, and I have felt more than honored to be in your guys' presence to talk about Descendants and Zombies. We will do this again later on this afternoon with another video uploaded on this YouTube channel, so make sure you watch for that, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons to get in on this conversation. I would love for you to be a part of this incredible journey that you girls have had me on for what feels like a lifetime. With that having been said, thank you guys so much for all the love and support you have shown my channel. Bye, YouTube. We will do this again in just a few hours from now. Be kind to one another, because kindness really does go a long way in this world.